You know, we all have those songs, you know, the ones that we blast in our car or in our headphones, but we quickly turn down when we come to a stoplight or get around somebody who might know the song. You know what I'm talking about. Songs we pretend not to know every word to. They're often called guilty pleasures, tracks that are just too uncool. So we listen to them in secret when we think nobody else is around. But today we're coming clean, or at least I am, in the ultimate musical confession booth and counting 5 guilty pleasures most of us are embarrassed to admit we love. On this countdown, we've got the theme song from a manufactured boy band that has finally started to get the rock cred they deserve. We also have a song that was made into a TV movie and a Broadway musical that everybody sings along to even if they won't admit it. And my number one pick will most definitely lose me some subscribers. Let the hate begin. I hope you'll drop your inhibitions and embrace my top 5 guilty pleasures. Love them or hate them, I swear you're going to be entertained. Next on Professor of Rock. Hey music junkies, Professor of Rock, always here to celebrate the greatest artists and the greatest songs of all time. Little sick today, doing my best here, so bear with me. You know, if you remember this commercial, you're going to dig this channel of deep musical nostalgia. Make sure to subscribe below right now. Click the white button. I know you'll find something to dig on here. There's some great interviews and great pieces coming up. Also, check out our website for live streams and special guests at professorofrock.com. Okay, so I can sum up today's episode in 2 words: guilty pleasures. Now, here's the thing. I really don't believe in guilty pleasures per se. We like what we like. What's one man's trash is another man's treasure, as they say, and vice versa. But just like one-hit wonders, the term guilty pleasure is well known. So for those purposes, I'll use it here and there on this. I like to call them confidential treasures or guilty as charged. That's what we'll call the show, guilty as charged. These featured tracks may be deemed uncool, but there's a reason that they hit the top of the charts and sold a lot of records, to a degree. Look, not all songs are created equal. We all know this. All of us have those songs that are a little easier to sing along to in secret, though. Today, I'm going to drop all pretense and own, embrace, and count down my personal top 5 guilty pleasure picks. Let's see if you love them or hate them. I think I'm going to piss some people off. A lot of hate's going to come my way, especially for my number 1 and 2 pick. But I'm getting a little vulnerable here, so let's get it on. Give me a chance. All right, kicking off our countdown, coming in at number 5, it's the theme song from the Monkees television show.
Everyone we meet, hey, we're the Monkees.
We all remember this one by heart. We've, of course, covered the Monkees before on this channel, featuring hits like Daydream Believer, I'm a Believer, and Last Train to Clarksville. All these are great songs. I'm a bona fide Monkees fan. I love the Monkees, so I'm not going to deny that. I got to throw this one in there too as far as their great songs go. It's completely goofy, I know, but it's also undeniably catchy and nostalgic. Now in the mid-'60s, American TV producers Bob Rafelson and Bert Schneider wanted to create a sitcom that would tap into the Beatlemania that was going on. I mean, inspired by films like A Hard Day's Night and Help, they envisioned a show about a quirky, fun-loving rock band struggling to make it big. 400 plus hopefuls auditioned, including major stars. But in the end, 4 young performers were selected: Mickey Dolenz, Davy Jones, Michael Nesmith, and Peter Tork. Each brought something unique to the table. For example, Dolenz was an actor and a natural comedian, and Davy Jones was a polished stage performer. Michael Nesmith was a skilled guitarist and a great songwriter, and Peter Tork was a multi-instrumentalist. With the show set to launch in the fall of 1966, same year that the Batman TV show came out.
Even crime fighters must eat, and especially you. You're a growing boy and you need your nutrition.
The production team moved quickly to create music for the series. Now, music exec Don Kirshner, the man with the golden ear, he was brought in to oversee the music, ensuring that the songs would be polished, radio-friendly pop hits. They wanted this thing to be massive. He enlisted the songwriting duo Tommy Boyce and Bobby Hart. And while the Monkees did their own vocals, session musicians, of course, handled the instrumentation on the first recordings, at least. That approach paid off. The band's first single, Last Train to Clarksville, was released ahead of the show, and it became a smash hit. It went to #1 on the Billboard Hot 100, just as the Monkees premiered in September of '66.
Don't be slow. No.
Building on that momentum, the Monkees released their self-titled debut album on October 10th, 1966. This album, packed with bright, hook-laden pop songs, mirrored the playful spirit of the show. The album became a chart-topping phenomenon. It held the #1 spot in the Billboard 200 for 13 weeks. It outsold even the Beatles in that time span. Pretty crazy.
And people say we monkey around, but we're too busy singing.
But, you know, if we're being honest, one of the most iconic songs from the Monkees catalog that everybody knows, probably as much as any of those songs, wasn't a traditional single, but rather their TV show's theme song. Written by Boyce and Hart, Theme from the Monkees was the infectious opening track that introduced viewers to the band every week. They should have released it as a single. I think it would have been a #1 hit. With its playful lyrics, here we come, walking down the street. We get the funniest looks from everyone we meet.
Funniest looks from everyone we meet.
I mean, this song perfectly encapsulated the show's carefree spirit. And the chorus, hey, hey, we're the Monkees, and people say we monkey around, everybody knows that. Became a signature catchphrase. So here's what the late Bobby Hart told me about writing it with Tommy Boyce. Why didn't they release that as a single?
Well, same thing with I Want to Be Free. As soon as that went on TV on one of the episodes, disc jockeys around the country started playing I Want to Be Free like a single. And it could have been top 10 for sure, would have been.
I wanna be free.
But Donnie's thought was, why should we give that away for 99 cents when we can force them to buy the album?
Yeah. Great thinking, you know,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
Not that kind of thinking going on now with free music and
I know.
Spotify and all that kind of stuff.
I know.
You guys were using this music, though, in a very cool way where you were kind of sneaking out some messages in there. You know, we're the young generation. We got something to say.
Generation, and we've got something to say.
Look, the theme for the Monkees, it's undeniably cheesy. But come on, how can you not love this song? It's a lot of fun. And Paul McCartney recently showed us just how much fun. All right, moving on to my #4 spot, I've got not just a song, but an entire album's worth of guilty pleasure tracks. Talking about Wilson Phillips and their debut self-titled LP, including the hit singles Hold On and Release Me, You're in Love, and Impulsive.
If you hold on for one more day, baby, you just got to release me. I know that you're not in love with me.
Now, in the late 1980s, childhood friends Carney Wilson, Wendy Wilson, and China Phillips decided to channel their musical heritage into a collaborative project. Carney and Wendy, of course, the daughters of Brian Wilson of the Beach Boys, Genius, and China, daughter of John and Michelle Phillips of the Mamas and the Papas, had grown up surrounded by music. Their decision to form a group was a natural progression, given their backgrounds and their chemistry. In 1989, they officially formed Wilson Phillips and secured a recording contract with SBK Records. The trio collaborated with a great producer, Glenn Ballard. Of course, he did Alanis Morissette's first album. He crafted their debut album. Remembering his introduction to the group, Ballard said, and I quote, "The first time I met him, they came in and sang a song a cappella for me, and it completely blew me out of my chair. They've been singing together since they were like 4 years old, and the Wilsons were blood sisters, but China, she was their sister too, in that sense that they had grown up together. They sang a million songs together and they'd already worked it out, so I didn't really have to do anything in terms of their sound. It was there. I just had to find a vehicle to put that sound in."
Someday somebody's gonna make you wanna turn around and say goodbye.
Now, released on March 27, 1990, their self-titled debut, Wilson Phillips, was a commercial triumph. Massive album. One of the biggest of the year. The record combined elements of pop and soft rock, and it peaked at #2 on the Billboard 200 chart for 10 consecutive weeks. They were behind MC Hammer's Please Hammer, Don't Hurt Him. Don't worry, he's not going to make my guilty pleasure list.
You can't touch this. Yo, sound the bell. School is in, sucker. You can't touch this.
The album also sold over 6 million copies worldwide. Critically, it garnered 5 Grammy nominations, including Album of the Year and Best New Artist. That wasn't enough. The record kicked out 3 #1 singles on the Hot 100. I mean, of course you're going to remember these.
Until then, baby, are you gonna let him hold you down and make you cry? Don't you know?
Okay, let's go one by one really quick. Released in February 1990, the lead single was Hold On. Kind of a self-help cheese fest of a song that is really so deliberate, it out-Robbins Tony Robbins. I love how Bridesmaids used it in the movie.
Until then, baby, are you gonna let him hold you down and make you cry? Don't you know?
It's undeniably catchy, but the anthem of encouragement was actually written by China Phillips about something very serious, her battle with substance abuse. Glenn Ballard had been working with Wilson Phillips when he handed China a cassette tape with some music that needed words. China took it home to work on the lyrics, and she said, I thought to myself, well, AA tells me just to hold on, just one day at a time, and I thought, okay, if I can just hold on for one more day, then I can do this.
Hold on for one more day.
Hold On's uplifting lyrics and catchy melody propelled it to the top of the Hot 100 chart on June 9, 1990, where it remained for a week. And you know what? This song, it's undeniable. It really is. It's such a positive song. Come on.
Break free from the chains.
Now, following the success of Hold On, Wilson Phillips released Release Me. That was the second single in August of 90. Release Me showcased a more introspective side of the trio, but once again emphasized their harmonious vocals.
Come on, baby, you knew it was time to just let go.
The lyrics are a poignant plea for, release from a stifling relationship. At least that's how I read into it. It clearly resonated with listeners because it became their second straight #1 hit. It's a great song, man. Their harmonies are incredible on it.
Baby, you just got to release me.
Then jumping ahead to early 91, the group released You're in Love, another heartfelt ballad with their trademark soothing harmonies. And once again, Wilson Phillips had another #1 hit on their hands. And it's about unrequited love, about you're in love with somebody else. Pretty good stuff.
'Cause I know that you're in love.
In addition, they had a couple more hits from the album, including the #4 hit Impulsive. Great song.
Lose myself in your kiss. You're giving me a feeling.
In June of 92, Wilson Phillips released their second album, Shadows and Light. It debuted at the #4 spot, and it produced 2 top 40 singles. However, by 1993, the trio abruptly split when Phillips decided she wanted to try her hand at a solo career. They did later reunite in 2004 and were reunited a few times after that. Pure harmonies and catchy hooks. This is an album that my mom bought. I heard it over 300 times over a 6-month period. I even caught my dad singing to it, so... All right, coming in at the #3 spot on the countdown, I got the man that all the women throw their undergarments at live in concert. He overtook Vegas the day Sinatra passed away. Talking about Barry Manilow with Copacabana at the Copa. So by the late 70s, Barry Manilow had established himself as a leading figure in the pop music scene. His early career was marked by chart-topping hits. I mean, Mandy, I Write the Songs, and Looks Like We Made It. All of them are pretty good songs, man. I have to admit, I like Barry Manilow.
How happy you made me, oh man. I write the songs, looks like we made it.
Although he didn't write all those songs, I Write the Songs actually written by Bruce Johnston and the Beach Boys. But anyway, maybe we should cover more about Barry Manilow. Let me know below if you'd like to see it. February 78, Manilow released his 5th studio album, Even Now, a triple platinum LP that peaked at #3 on the Billboard 200. The album features several top 20 hits, Can't Smile Without You, Even Now, and Copacabana. Copacabana was actually a bold departure from the signature ballads that had made him a household name.
Can't smile without you. Still so hard without you, even now. The hottest spot north of Havana, even at the Copa.
Co-written with Bruce Sussman and Jack Feldman, the song was born out of a conversation between Manilow and Sussman at the Copacabana Hotel in Rio de Janeiro. While they were there, they wondered if a song had ever been written about the legendary New York nightclub of the same name. Now, intrigued by this idea, Manilow suggested that Sussman and Feldman craft a story that was driven by the lyric, and he would compose the music. The result was a lively Latin-infused tune with an irresistible disco groove, and everybody knew it was going to be a hit. They had to. The song's narrative follows Lola, a glamorous showgirl, and then Tony, a bartender at the famed Copacabana nightclub. Their romance is tested when a wealthy patron, Rico, becomes aggressive toward Lola, leading to a violent confrontation. Gunshots ring out, leaving it unclear who fired that fatal shot. But what becomes clear is that Tony has been killed. Now, fast forward 30 years, and Lola is now a lost soul, still clinging to the past, drowning in sorrow at the very bar where she once performed. The music for Copacabana, it came together in record time for Manilow. He recalled that he wrote the song's melody in about 15 minutes after placing the lyrics on the piano stand and just press and record. Co-writer Bruce Sussman admitted that they initially viewed the track as nothing more than just a fun novelty song. However, Arista Records quickly realized that Copacabana was more than just a filler, and they pushed to make it a single. And the tragic love story went to number 8 on the Billboard Hot 100, and it became a club staple. Crossed over into pop culture. It inspired a made-for-TV movie and a stage musical. Pretty good for a simple disco song.
Music and passion are always in fashion at the Copacabana. Tonight.
More than 4 decades later, Copacabana is one of Barry Manilow's most enduring songs, much bigger than its chart position. Whether played at a dance club, a concert, or a nostalgic throwback event, it continues to transport listeners to the golden era of glamorous nightclubs and star-crossed lovers. It's so 70s it hurts. I mean, you know you've sung it 100 times. Even Dave Grohl can't deny this one. It's a pop culture phenomenon. Here's what Barry Manilow told me about Copacabana.
Copa was a novelty record. And again, you know, I was dealing with Clive, who's, you know, the genius of pop music, and he didn't like Copa. And he didn't want to release Copa. And I thought, well, you know, I love this song, and it's a very smart lyric. You know, a story song and 3 verses and a repetitive chorus. Bruce and Jack did a great job on that lyric, and I did a great melody, and I thought it was going to be a novelty song on the album. But the audiences, the public, kept buying it and requesting it on the radio, and it became the biggest record of my entire catalog. You go around the world, and they may not know I write the songs or Can't Smile Without You, but when you say Copa, everybody knows it. It was the biggest surprise of all of them.
Coming in at number 2, you're going to know this one right off the bat. I'm going to get a lot of hate for this one. It's a track by a duo who lost their only Grammy and were banished from music for their sins. I'm talking about Rob Pilatus and Fabrice Fab Morvan, better known as Milli Vanilli. The song, Baby Don't Forget My Number. In the late 80s, aspiring performers Rob and Fab crossed paths in Munich, Germany. Both were dancers and models dreaming of musical stardom. Their shared ambitions led them to collaborate, and they soon caught the attention of German producer Frank Farian. He saw the duo's charisma and their potential, and he offered them a project that would change their lives. A demo of the song Girl, You Know It's True was the first song. He also proposed that they become the faces of a new musical act despite not singing on the recordings themselves. I've always wondered what they were thinking, what was going through their minds. I mean, I know they've kind of said what... Anyway, eager for success, the duo agreed. They signed a contract in January of '88. Unknown to the public, the actual vocals were provided by session singers John Davis, Charles Shaw, and Brad Howell. While Rob and Fab lip-synced during performances, the project was named Milli Vanilli, of course, and their debut album All or Nothing was released in Europe in November of '88, featuring Girl, You Know It's True. The song became a massive success, topping charts across Europe and reaching number 2 on the US Hot 100. The album was repackaged for the American market and released as Girl, You Know It's True in March of '89. This version included additional tracks and remixes tailored for US audiences. The album was a commercial juggernaut. I mean, anybody that lived in the 80s remembers this. It produced 5 singles that all went top 5 here in the States. 3 of them reached number 1, Blame It on the Rain, Girl, I'm Gonna Miss You, and Baby Don't Forget My Number. And I don't think we can play them here, unfortunately, because in the past we've gotten in trouble for it. Let me see what I can do. Released in 1989 is the album's second single. Baby Don't Forget My Number features a blend of dance pop rhythms and catchy melodies that made it an instant favorite. The song's structure is really a tapestry of upbeat verses, a sing-along chorus for sure, and interspersed rap segments. Its lyrics are all about a desire to stay connected. Another one of those Don't Lose My Number songs. We just talked about this a couple weeks ago with Phil Collins on Billy Don't You Lose My Number. The album itself, though, spent 7 weeks at the top of the Billboard 200 chart. It was certified 6 times platinum by January of 1990. Milli Vanilli's meteoric rise was further solidified when they won the Grammy for Best New Artist in February of 1990. However, suspicions about the duo's inauthenticity were already brewing when it all hit the fan during a live MTV performance in Bristol, Connecticut on July 21st, 1989. You remember this. A technical malfunction caused the backing track for Girl You Know It's True to skip. It repeatedly played the line, Girl You Know It's, Girl You Know It's. And Robin Fab attempted to continue, but soon left the stage, intensifying public and media scrutiny. However, it wasn't until November of 1990 that the truth came out that the group Farian had admitted that Rob and Fab were not the real singers of Milli Vanilli. And this confession led to widespread outrage, resulting in the duo having to return their Grammy for Best New Artist. In the aftermath, Rob and Fab faced multiple lawsuits and public ridicule for their lies. Their attempts to relaunch their careers were largely unsuccessful, and the scandal has remained a defining moment in early 90s pop culture, even though they're a late 80s band. This song, it's so undeniably catchy. My wife and I still do the Milli Vanilli dance whenever it comes on. It's not a pretty sight for me. She looks great. I look horrible. Okay, before we move on to the number 1 spot on this countdown, I want to throw in one honorable mention. The band that gave us Get Down Tonight, That's the Way I Like It, and Shake, Shake, Shake Your Booty. That's right, I'm talking about Casey and the Sunshine Band. And the song that I got to give a shout out to is Keep It Comin' Love. Man, Keep It Comin' Love is a quintessential disco track, that's for sure, but it is one of the most infectious songs of all time. It went to number 2 on the Billboard Hot 100, and Casey, he inspired a lot of people. Harry Wayne Casey, actually talking to Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis, Jimmy Jam is largely influenced by Casey and the Sunshine Band, so it says Keep It Comin' Love 45 times in the song, but it's great. All right, here's my number 1 top guilty pleasure pick. And again, this is more than just a song, it's an entire album. And I have no idea how this became my ultimate confidential treasure, if you will. I got to blame my friend from high school. He loved New Wave and he listened nonstop to Depeche Mode and Peter Gabriel and The Clash. But for some reason, he loved this album. He bought it, he played it all the time, and it grew on me to a point where I went out and bought it too. I've kept it a secret for years. It's from a former American Idol judge and a woman who danced with an animated cat all the way to number 1. I'm talking about this woman's second album, Spellbound by Paula Abdul. Here's a sample. So Paula's journey to pop stardom began in the early 80s when she was selected as a cheerleader for the LA Lakers, Laker Girl. Her exceptional dance skills quickly elevated her to the position of head choreographer for the Laker Girls, and this role caught the attention of prominent artists, leading to choreography opportunities with Janet Jackson. Abdul's innovative choreography and music videos, particularly in Jackson's Nasty and Control, garnered significant acclaim, establishing her as a reputation in music. So capitalizing on this success, Abdul ventured into singing. She released her debut album, Forever Your Girl, in 1988. This album was a massive success, one of the biggest of the late 80s. It produced 4 number 1 singles, Straight Up, Forever Your Girl, Cold Hearted, and Opposites Attract. It actually made her the first female artist to have 4 #1 singles on a debut album. That's incredible. Not even Whitney Houston did that.
Straight up now, tell me, do you really wanna love me forever? Or we go together?
Then in 1991, Abdul released her sophomore album, Spellbound, which began at number 5 and quickly shot to the top spot. Stayed there for 2 consecutive weeks. Spellbound also certified triple platinum by the RIAA. The lead single, Rush Rush, was released on April 24th, 1991. The ballad showcased Paula's softer side and became her 5th straight #1 hit on the Billboard Hot 100. And her accompanying music video actually featured actor Keanu Reeves as Paula's love interest, adding to its popularity. Do you remember that?
You all through me. Rush, ooh.
Now, released in July of 91, The Promise of a New Day was up next, and the hot streak continued as the single became Paula's #6 #1. 6 straight #1s. It's crazy. The third single, Blowing Kisses in the Wind, really good song, a mid-tempo ballad about unrequited love, that was released on October 17th, 1991, and it reached #6 on the Hot 100. It finally broke her streak of #1 hits.
It's like I'm blowing kisses in the wind.
After Blowing Kisses in the Wind, Paula Abdul had 2 more top 20 hits. Vibology, that came in at #16, and Will You Marry Me reached #19.
Give me that vibology. Will you marry me, boy?
Don't ask me why, but Will You Marry Me is my favorite song out of all of these on the album. It's actually Paula's song to Emilio Estevez. The two were married for a couple of years, if you remember that. Call Me a Dork, but I find the song to be really, really sweet. I just love, I love the song.
Will you marry me?
Spellbound solidified Paula Abdul's status as a leading pop artist of the early 90s, proving that her success with Forever Your Girl was no fluke. The album took Paula's music to the next level, showcasing her evolution as a legitimate artist. She also released a 3rd album that came in 1995 when everything had changed, Head Over Heels. That one certified gold. In the new millennium, she would shift gears, appearing as a judge on, American Idol, like I said, So You Think You Can Dance, and the X Factor. I know I'm going to get a lot of hate for this one, but you know what? I'm taking a chance here.
All we need is just the 2 of us and ooh.
So what are your guilty pleasures? Take off the music snob hat for just a second, like I did, and give us yours. Leave us a comment about the guilty pleasure tracks of your life. What do you remember about these songs? Any of them you agree with? Let me know in the comments below. Let's have a great discussion. If you like our content, we invite you to subscribe. We'd love to have you as part of our community. Until next time, records and the truth, my friends.